Have you ever been inside a top team's changing rooms? It's a legendary place. And have you ever touched an athlete's outfit? These are not just shirts, they are legends, woven with deeds and memories, vision and determination, toil and team spirit. And that's not all. One shirt has something more to tell. A tale made of intuitions and sudden leaps forward. A tale that began over 30 years ago, that continues to fuel the dreams of generations of fans. Belgium, 2000 AD. Under the gaze of millions of fans, everything is set for the 11th edition of the UEFA European Football Championship. The Italian team is ready for battle. But it's not just the formation that catches the attention of the audience.
At the time, I was head of Rai's entire sports department, and there was all this background noise and bewilderment. What do you mean? There's a press conference on the team's shirt?
As a player and as a coach, I've seen countless shirts, and I have to say, this one changed the entire idea of a football shirt.
It was made to be worn by athletes, you know, as opposed to, I suppose before that, football shirts were almost as much for supporters.
The first time I saw the Kombat shirt, I never would have thought that the same shirt would also inspire a revolution in the world of rugby.
It's called Kombat, and it's the shirt for the modern athlete. But to understand where it comes from, we have to travel back to a time when the game and its shirts were very different to what they are now.
In the beginning, a shirt was a shirt, that was all. It could have a crew neck, a V-neck, and it could be pseudo-technical. That means you had to wear something underneath it because you could feel the cold. They were made of mixed wool, and they often became matted just because they were washed over and over again, as we didn't have many.
Shirts were a bit different, a bit thicker. If it rained, you had to carry a few extra pounds. It was harder at the time with shoes and everything. The gear is all different now.
At the time, people listened to the match on the radio. You couldn't watch it unless you went to watch it live. A shirt was just a shirt, and the footballers wearing them were just players. But something started to change during the 70s. Maurizio Vitale, a young businessman from Torino, was the first to spot the coming tidal wave of change.
Walking through New York, we passed a chain store called the Athlete's Foot, which was like Foot Locker's forerunner, in that there were shops selling sportswear. We looked at this chain and I said to Vitale, see, this is the jeans store of the future.
It wasn't the first time Vitale anticipated change. Inspired by John Lennon in 1969, he turned his established family business inside out and launched new brands. Roba di Kappa, young and informal, and Jesus Jeans, transgressive and unconventional. He was now ready to pick up on new trends.
It was the year the World Cup was played in Argentina, of Cabrini's debut. And watching him play his first match, Vitale just said, that guy is a rock star. And with me in tow, as usual, he met the fans waiting for the Italian team flying back to Malpensa Airport.
The World Cup had finished the day before. Anticipating everyone else, he went up to my father and said, I want Antonio to be part of my company. I want to give him a contract. That kind of thing was unheard of at the time.
Vitale perfectly understood football's enormous potential. Therefore, Cabrini and I both became ambassadors for Roba di Kappa.
Robe di Kappa. Robe di Kappa, robe da campioni.
Italy, 1979. Vitale was firmly convinced that the future of clothing was bound to the world of sport and its champions. For this reason, he decided to associate his new brand to a great football team.
We went to see Bonipetti at Juventus, who was assisted by the managing director, Mr. Giuliano. And Vitali told them, I want to sponsor Juventus. And Bonipetti said, what does that mean, to sponsor Juventus? I want to put the Robe di Kappa logo on Juventus shirts. And Bonipetti turned to Giuliano and said, does this mean he wants to give us money, or does he want money from us? And Giuliano said, no, I think he wants to give us some money.
His company would provide the team's outfits in exchange for displaying its logo on the shirts. The Robe di Kappa logo, later simplified to Kappa, features on the shirts of legendary players like Zoff, Bettiger, Scirea. At the same time, it arrived in the homes of millions of Italians. And that's not all.
It was a transition. It had something extraordinary about it, an amazing premonition of what has now become commonplace.
Sponsorship, football is just so big. It's the people's game, and the best way to reach the people is to sponsor a shirt, to reach thousands, millions of people.
So growing up as a big football fan in England, Juventus for sure was the team that I remembered the most.
That's where it started, the venture of a company taking a team under arm and then together achieving great results.
It was good for the whole of football, for players, for clubs.
Because it set the standard for researching the brand, the logo to associate with a shirt, and fundamentally with that concept of clothing important for technical development.
The one thing you see at the end of the 70s with brands like Kappa and the like is you see that they're not supplying, they want to supplement what they're doing and what they're doing to the football teams. They want to assist them in making them even better than they were.
It was the dawn of a new age. Football morphed into a market. Companies, competition, innovation dominated the sector. Shirts discovered new synthetic fabrics. Players became world-famous idols. Kappa continued its rise, always a step ahead of the rest. In a bar in New York, Vitali signed a sponsorship deal for $1 million with the US track and field team on a paper napkin.
Almost an amazing achievement, really, is the fact that Kappa, an Italian brand, becomes supplier for the USA Olympic team for the Olympics in America. With Carl Lewis, Ed Moses. These aren't just the best athletes in '84, these are the best athletes in the history of athletics.
The competition was huge. We're talking about Adidas and Nike, ready to crush our company and feast on the remains.
The challenge was massive, the expectations sky high, no mistakes were allowed. To fight off those giants, Vitali pulled out of the hat one of his brilliant intuitions. He moved the contest onto virgin ground, and 2 months before the Olympic Games, he knocked on the door of the American space agency, NASA.
We asked them to design a fabric that would protect the athletes from the sun's rays, keeping their skin at a set temperature. It was a tool to help athletes perform better.
These tracksuits appeared worn by American athletes, complete with a hood. To see something of the sort was, from the point of view of aesthetics, oh my God, what's happening? I mean, they designed them at NASA. Are they going to the moon? They were missiles in the wind.
It can still be small, but it's that 1% that makes all the difference in modern sport.
And all of a sudden, every newspaper and journalist started talking about these revolutionary fabrics. Kappa conquered its place of honor among the world's technical companies.
We all remember those iconic pictures of Carl Lewis winning the gold medal in the long jump, the 100 and the 200, wearing his Kappa outfit. He looked absolutely sensational.
Da Atene a Los Angeles. Kappa, sponsor ufficiale della squadra nazionale d'atletica americana.
From that moment, there was no turning back, and an athlete's outfit became an integral part of their performance. But this simple yet revolutionary concept was not taken in by every sport, and for Kappa, it was now time to take on a new challenge and to move on to new frontiers.
New technologies are, by definition, new possibilities, opportunities for business. Inside BasicNet, there's an urge, a will, a duty, an ongoing emphasis on keeping up with technology.
A stare al passo con le tecnologie. Flexibility and speed are exactly what we think our competitors will be missing in the near future.
Now, the Italian company that has amazed the world is led by Marco Boglione. After breathing new life into it after its bankruptcy, he has reshaped it in his own image. A nerd ahead of his time, he created his fully web-integrated company, a global network of businessmen partners connected to each other and to BasicNet, thanks to the group's platforms.
He is someone who could have shared a lot with Steve Jobs, and I think the way he runs the company reflects the innovative spirit typical of those innovators who changed the course of history.
It was the year 1999. Kappa had only been resurrected a few years earlier, but it had already branded teams like Juventus, Milan when it was breaking every record, and Barcelona. But it was not enough. To make it clear to the world that Kappa was back with a vengeance, Boglione made a lifelong dream come true, sponsoring the Italian national team.
That shirt had everyone's eyes on it, and it had to clear the last obstacle. From the old generation of shirts to a new generation.
Football is a lot slower than most sports in their technological advancements. I mean, the kits are just kits. They are they are shirts to be worn. Then there's no thought behind what advantages they may bring and what benefits they may bring.
Players just ran around with this loose shirt flapping on their backs, which wasn't exactly becoming. Those are years to be forgotten. Luckily, at some stage, an idea which was a true technical expression was conceived.
I had to turn over a new leaf. At that time, I thought of something that I'd always noticed with curiosity and interest, and that was the world of surfing. Surf shirts are a stretch. A surf shirt is made to go in the water, so fitness fabric could be a thing and do the trick. So, in the end, a surf shirt with a fitness fabric had the potential to radically alter old football shirts.
Slim, stretch and lightweight, it sculpts the athlete's body. In a world where getting to the ball a moment earlier or later can change the outcome of a match, even a shirt can help to score a goal.
We have to give the player in the box an extra 20 inches, whether he's jumping or sprinting forwards. But with an extra 20 inches, who knows how many more goals they will score? And that was the intellectual challenge, trying to give them a more precise rifle, give them an extra chance.
It was a lot harder to stop a player, and they were much more visible to the referee.
Stop stopping. The shirt made it harder to be stopped on the field. Referee help. So it helped the referee because in football, holding someone back is a foul. And 100% Italy. So wherever possible, no brands on the front, just the Italian flag. It was enough.
The concept of a shirt customized by the athlete's body was born.
The name itself has become a kind of a word to describe not only a product, but an emotion.
So at one stage we said, what do we name the shirt in this range? And that's when Kombat was born. Then someone said, well, with a K, of course. And I said, obviously with a K.
I remember that just before the European Championships, I saw a photo shoot. It featured shirts that were all more or less the same. Apart from the colours, graphics and logos, they were all more or less the same shape. They all fit the same, but it was obvious one of them was different, and it was the Italian team's shirt.
Volevamo innovare l'aspetto tecnico e quindi almeno sperare di poter contribuire un po' al risultato che ci auguriamo sarà straordinario degli azzurri.
And Italy made it to the final. And that shirt, so different from the others, left an indelible mark.
It's a sea change in football shirts.
I was amazed at the amount of publicity and discussion that was had in England regarding the Kombat. It was such an unusual product, and the look of the players wearing this product was so radically different than anything we'd seen.
You can see the transition from then to now. It's very obvious, because it looked like it was so futuristic back then. Now, everything looks like that.
The players were all quite happy because they were really fit. They liked to show off their bodies. At my age, I wasn't quite as happy.
Let's say the Kombat was the 12th player on the field because it allowed us to take different photos. It was spectacular, also photographically.
2000 was a milestone, and now has become really the de facto standard of the football player.
Today, everyone plays football wearing that shirt. The same shirt that looks so weird on the day, and gradually all the brands, one after the other, followed in our footsteps.
After that fight on both the technical and the stylistic issues, I received a wonderful phone call.
It was 2000. I was responsible for Nike's sports marketing activities. We were making a major push to get into the world of football, and in particular signing national federations so their teams wore our product at the European Championships and the World Cup in 2002. And at that time, the Italian National Federation was looking for a new kit supplier for the Italian national team, and it was one that Nike would very much like to have had. Italy obviously have a fantastic record in European Championships and World Cups, always do well, always look good, exactly the sort of team that Nike would like to have had. And in the end, we lost out to Kappa and the Cobalt shirt, and I called Marco to congratulate him on it and explain to him that I thought that one of the reasons we had lost was because the new shirt was fantastic. It was slimlined, it stopped other players tugging at you as you went past. The Italians, of course, always looked good in that shirt, and he was gracious enough to accept my call, and I think quite happy that Nike, who at that time was considerably bigger than Kappa, had lost out to him, and that I'd called him to congratulate him.
The Kombat became the archetypal uniform for the modern footballer. From that moment, nothing would ever be the same, not only in football.
We immediately started working on the Kombat rugby, and that was, if you like, an even deeper change.
Being that tackling in rugby is admitted by the rules and consequently holding onto the shirt, we had to avoid it. So we said, let's make a shirt that can't be tackled.
The previous shirt was very large and it made it easy to grab the opponent. Imagine you run after someone, you grab them by the shirt, which is large and flapping everywhere. You can intercept them and stop them. With a shirt fitting closer to the body, this becomes very hard indeed.
There'd never been a product which had even been close to this in rugby. Historically, for years, the product was a very simple cotton jersey.
In a very conservative world such as rugby, that was definitely an innovation and a revolution.
Today, there isn't a team in the world that still plays wearing the old shirt.
Almost 20 years have gone by since the Kombat first appeared. 100 have elapsed since the company that has always managed to keep up with the times and innovate the world of clothes and sports was born. And today, Kombat is synonymous with football, but also rugby, fencing, skiing, and many other sports. The shirt is no longer a shirt. It is a spirit, inspiring those who wear it, spawned by the passion of its creators.
Every time we reach the gate, we're glad we're wearing a Kombat, because we know that if it can help us gain anything, however small, it will.
And during the rotation, there's a completely different freedom of movement.
And even if some opponent pulled on it, I always managed to break free in the best way possible.
It's impossible to see a team wearing a product other than the shape of a Kombat, not only in the UK, but I believe worldwide.
And I think now you see the slim shirts, the football shirts, and also the technical aspect of them, and that's replicated in fashion, everyday fashion, not just sportswear and the like.
I think the Kombat shirt is a bit like a symbol of this ability to throw our hearts beyond an obstacle.
I mean, Kappa has clothed some of the great sportsmen over the last 50 years. And that history and that legacy is, I think, what stands them in very good stead today to continue to compete against some of the bigger players and carve out their own particular area in this huge world of sports apparel and footwear.
We can be good, clever, pleasant, funny, use technology, but we must never forget that it's a battle.
Non bisogna mai dimenticarsi che è una battaglia. Kombat
could actually be a summary of what BasicNet is.
BasicNet.
The name contains a piece of our DNA. We fight.